Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 97 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, we have some fun stuff to cover this week. It's also pretty early in the morning for me here. I've got some really early work stuff and I don't have other time today. I thought about filming last night because Mike is on a work trip and so I can do whatever I want at night. But I just, solo momming is, even with my mom being here and helping, takes a lot of mental effort after a long work week, and it's been a long work week. So I'm filming, it's early, hopefully I make a lot of sense to you, and also I'm, as I have been in the last few weeks, just in a bit of a time crunch, so we're gonna go through this pretty quickly. If you're new here, hi, sorry for that rant in the beginning, but my name is Megan and I live in the Pacific Northwest with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. We have the normal podcast things to cover. So I am a knitter primarily. I also crochet, I cross stitch on Sundays, I spin yarn when I'm feeling inspired to. I feel inspired right now, but I also have been feeling a little like knitting, not even pressure, but like excitement over the stuff that was on my needles. So I haven't been wanting to give spinning as much time. I do want to do tour fleece. I still do want to do a couple of braids before then, or at least one braid before then. So I am going to get, I know I said this last week, I'll get something on. Solo momming, it's the mental energy for me to even figure out what I want to pick over here. I just need to think about it for a minute, figure out approximate weight I want to spin for, or pick something that doesn't need any approximate weight, which is maybe the more of the thing I need to do this week, and just let it go. But I'll probably do a little bit of spinning this weekend. So let's talk through what I'm wearing really quick, and then we'll move on to finished objects, of which I have one sort of, and some new cast-ons and some other things. So, and plus all the whips I have to talk about. So today I am wearing my Skyline Tee. I don't think I've worn this on a podcast in a while, but this is my Skyline Tee from Toriu. I figured since we're in the middle of our Toriu knit along, I would show you what the Skyline Tee looks like on me again as a reminder. I'm going to pop a picture up here wherever already of me wearing this, so you can see me and my whole body, so I don't have to stand up because it still looks like that. I will say this has held up really nicely, and this is it was last year my most worn t-shirt, and definitely one I think I've worn it like 3 times this month already because it's just so easy to put on. This is a size 5. It's supposed to be 50 inches. I have not measured it also since wearing it a long time. And I don't know, like, I don't even know if I have the measurements on Ravelry, but let's say it was pretty close to 50 inches. I do remember it being, just under, just over, something like that. Pretty close. Recommended ease is 4 to 6 inches. For me right now, that's about 4 inches of ease. Same with the pictures that were taken. I used a 3.25 millimeter for the body. Wow, I can't believe that. Yeah. Seems small, but this gauge is like, yeah, the gauge it's fingering weight. Like, it is what it is, right? This is Grenouille Co. 8515 sock in 3 Sisters, which is an amazing colorway. I got this yarn from Sylvan in like a yarn swap, or I think I bought it from her. But yeah, so you can see here, it's got this really beautiful, I think this is maybe like a 3x1 rib saddle shoulder, goes all the way down into the sleeve, and then and it is a drop shoulder. Has the drop shoulder sleeves. This yarn has held up really nicely. Like, I wear this a lot, and I've like very little, like I can feel a little bit of pilling. You can't really see it. It's a great summer top. This is merino. In my climate, I can wear that no problem. I totally get why people would want to make this in a more like linen, silk, something other blend, cotton to stay a little bit cooler. For here, this is great. I wear it lots. That is all. And I finished this early last April, so I did wear it all summer because it was like my first or second one that was done for the spring. And yeah, so I love this one. Somebody in the make along, if you are joining our make along, it's any Toriu garment. It can be a whip, it can be now a new cast on. Just has to be done by the end of flock weekend, and I'll have a Google form for us to track everything, and then we'll have some prizes. This is a piece that somebody in the Discord put in, that they did the 3x1 rib all the way to the bottom and then just did their, you know, regular ribbing around it. And it looks really cool to have that kind of like flow all the way to the bottom. I think it looks great as this also. One of the things I love about this pattern is even though there's just like this little detail, I think you can still see it. Like, I mean, it's obviously not as clear if it was like a tonal, but I think you can still see this even in more variegated yarns I've seen. And this is really just kind of like a lightly variegated speckled yarn, but I love that you can still see that. And this is one that I do want to make as a tonal, though the second color I picked out is just not the variegated for this. This might be my second cast on for the knit along because I finished my last one last week. Unclear if I'm going to do two just with things going on. And the other one is a Queen's Cami, which I don't have, and I would love to make a new pattern. So I'm undecided, but that is, yep, this by Toriu. Love it. Great pattern. So let's go to what I finished, kind of. I just like knocked something out of my bag. You guys, the sea glass, it's done. It's done minus blocking. So really done. All the ends are woven in. Most of them are cut except for like my in ribbing ends. They're all done, just they're not cut yet, including like the sleeves. But everything is woven in. Let me show you the inside of this. Whoa. You can't see, it's just lighter on those pieces because you carry the dark. I have the main color on this is a River Anduin from Treehouse. And so you carry that every row, but because I only sewed in all of my contrasting colors every round, it does look lighter and it does give a lighter patch also in the fabric. It's not super noticeable. But yeah, like you can see this just like patch of little lighters just because it's, I did just like truly weave them in, and I think it just makes them a little bit more prominent looking. It's not, when you look at it, they don't look different, but it's just the way that it's happening. I think with washing, it's just a small section in the back. Anyway, I have a lot of hair. My hair is typically down. So I don't care. That's fine. And that also is true for the side section. I think it's on this side. The side section, all the ends are woven in that way, and same with the sleeve. So you can see that sort of like sleeve piece here where it's like a little bit, I mean, I haven't blocked it yet, so it's a little bit like stiffer and stuff, but yeah, but everything is woven in. It's so exciting. The sleeves look really wild, like the whole way up. It's just this crazy little thing. That's fine. So here's the thing. I have put this on. It does fit. I did actually put this on directly after the episode because I was like, the body does look pretty long. Their measurements for this are like way longer than I think is typical for a lot of garment makes now. We're in sort of a cropped era, I think, but whatever. It was like knit 14 inches of body and then 2.5 inches of ribbing. I don't want it to be quite that long. So I think I knit like just over 12 inches of body, and that's about where I was last week. So I stopped. I did a couple extra rows. I stopped, I tried it on, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I think we are good. And then I did the ribbing. This was supposed to be 3.5 inches of ribbing on the sleeves, which is close to what it is, but I think it's not quite that long, which is fine. So they're just like a little bit off of each other, but not by much. Sleeves, I did a little bit less than pattern, but that was feeling very long before the cuff. And I do think that 1x1 ribbing or 1x1 color work does relax when you wash it. So I didn't want to just have these enormously long sleeves. So I'm going to soak this whole thing. I think the whole thing should relax a little bit. It does fit. It is a little bit, not tight in the yoke. It's just the top of my arm is a little bit tight. So I am going to pin this just at that top part to give myself a slightly larger bicep, which will also then hopefully, like, the sleeve, even if it stretches a little bit, will still fit at, you know, just below bracelet length, like at a good place for me. So that's the plan. It is done. All the knitting is done. So I'm going to wash this maybe this afternoon, lay it out. It's not supposed to be, you can see how gray it is. I mean, you can't see how gray it is, but my light is not particularly light today, even though it is early in the morning. It does get really light here, usually in the summer early. We're in our longest days stretch right now, but it's very gray today. So that it'll be interesting. I might lay this out under my deck, like covered area for a little to see if just airflow, even if it's not particularly warm, will help it. Just because it is thick. 1x1 DK weight color work is quite a lot. It's like heavy. It's super heavy. So also after I wash it, I will weigh it, and I will weigh the leftover yarn, though there's so much leftover yarn. Almost none of my DK. I used up all of the DK. I had maybe 2 3/4 or 2 2/3 skeins or so of the River Anduin in Dove DK. Luckily, I have a Sierra Sport, which was it's her 3-ply sport weight from when I did my tessellated vest, and I had about half a ball left of that, and I did use that for like about a half of just the body ribbing, not the sleeves. And I figured, like, I did the only modification other than lengths of stuff is that I went down to the recommended 3.75 millimeter needles for the sleeve cuffs to pull them in, but I didn't want the hem to pull in as much, so I did 4 millimeter needles for that. The whole sweater knit in 4.5 millimeter otherwise. And I think that was a good choice. And then with the switching to the sport, like, I really don't think you can tell the difference. You know, it's like right here-ish, right in the middle. But that will still just, like, I think having the slightly bigger needle will also mean that it didn't pull any tighter or whatever. So I did a sew and bind off, not a knit. Or I think they did like a in pattern bind off is what's recommended. I did a sew and bind off for everything. So here's where we are. Okay. We'll wear it next week. And hopefully I really like it. Regardless, like, honestly, if I didn't like wearing it, I would still wear it because I like it so much. But if I really didn't like wearing it, I would just hang this on my wall because it's so beautiful. It's so, so beautiful. Okay. That is all for that, my friends. Oh, actually, sorry, not all. Let me tell you really quick the details on that. I am making a size 6, or that is a size 6 and a 49-inch bust. That's all the details I have. 4.5 millimeter needles. You know about the Dove DK, which is a slightly light DK, 246 400 grams, and that's all. That's all I have to say. Now, we'll wash that and move forward with our lives. Now, let's go through the next thing, which got some progress this week. I've just been chipping away at this one, and that is my book club cardigan. The progress is I finished sleeves. I did not go back to the body at all, so I'm not going to talk about this too much, but this is my Sorry Nordlin book club cardigan, heavily modified using Neat and Pearls modifications on Ravelry. She is the first under like the helpful projects or featured projects if you go into the projects page for this. Her name is Abbye. She did put like her contact information on Instagram if you need to reach out to her. I think you can also reach out to her via Ravelry, but yeah, I made like a spreadsheet of all her changes for all the sizes because our our knitting group decided to make this, like 5 of us made this, and we did various sizes, and that's mostly worked out for everybody. If you watch Ariel's podcast, she did make the smallest size, and there was like a mod that wasn't perfect for that size because you're kind of for way less stitches than Abbye's original, which was a size 3. I am making a size 4 with size 6 plus sleeves. But yeah, so this is where I was on each of the sleeves, that marker, and then this one down here. So I was nearly done this one. I did decide to just do the full diamond and mostly the full cuff. It's a little bit shorter than what's recommended. Like, I think I did 1.5 inches instead of 2, but I didn't need all of it. And then I had only done like 1 diamond on the sleeve, so I finished it. I mean, the sleeve itself is looking like a good length if the drop is about here. And this is not very dropped on me because I did not pick a very big size. The size is supposed to be, it's like just over 49 inches, I think, for me, with the mods of adding some stitches. The biggest mod that is in this pattern is you start the pattern a little bit like earlier. So, but you have these extra 4 stitches for a braid built in so that there's not that weird, this is the back. On saris, there's like, each of the sides has like a weird extra leg that goes up and is just sort of floating by itself. And none of us really like that. We liked this kind of just start the diamond at the top of the diamond look. So yeah, it's got moss stitch. Okay, so I'm gonna get back to the body. I'm pretty close to where I have to decide on where I want pockets, which is why I went to the sleeves. So now I'm only connected to one ball of yarn, which like that's a great thing. And I will try it on again, make a decision if I'm like, you know, an inch or two or whatever, figure out where I want it to sit in the pattern. And also maybe weigh the yarn I have left, because I need to be able to do all of the ribbing. And I don't have that much yarn left over. I've got like a quarter. Oh, you know, this is not that bad. Like this is maybe a third of a ball. I have this much left from each of the sleeves. And then I have almost a full ball that's attached right now. So yeah, I should be able to do like, maybe make it a tiny bit longer than pattern. And I still have one whole extra ball here in my little cubby of current project yarn to, yeah, add in there for, I think probably one skein is enough for the collar. Anywho, moving along. I'm not gonna, you know, finish it next week or anything, but continued progress is continued progress. And that, by the way, also I'm using 4mm needles, which I use for the body and sleeves. I used a 3mm for the ribbing, and this is my first ribbing, so that's what I used for the sleeves. And that felt like very small, considering that this yarn is a woolen spun. It's a Moda by Wool Dreamers. In the color 1526C, it's 100% local wool. It's a 3-ply woolen spun, 252 yards for 100 grams. And it's just like so sticky and so airy that even knitting on like 3mm, I didn't feel like I could get a super condensed fabric. Like it just doesn't want to be super condensed, which is fine. It was a good pattern for this, because this is like a worsted weight knit. It's like, I think she does sport and a fluff or something. And there are a lot of people that did like DK and a fluff or just worsted weight yarn. If you go on project pages. Okay. Let's go to my summer sorrel. This is a pattern by Abbye and Selena from Wool and Pine Designs. And this is a gift knit for my mom. I have a Make 9 gift knits this year, which we'll cover when I do Q2 stats in a couple of weeks. I'll go over like what's done, what's not from all of the different things, including my year goals, but also my Make 9s. And I have one for me of things I want to make, and then for me, and then things I want to make for my family and or friends. And this one is on there for my mom. This is the only thing that's on there for her, though she'll also get a pair of socks this year because I'm also doing a year of socks. I know I said this, and then someone at Niina said it was so true. Like, you can't unsee that this is like an oceanscape, right? Like this is like the waves rolling in. So I just think it's so pretty. It could even be like a sunset with like the reflection off the water. Like it's so good. The fade is so much better than I thought it would be. I was here last week, and you can see it that it's a little bit more blue down here, but this is my fade, just kind of under where that marker was, maybe like 7 or 8 rows. So like this here is where the fade happened, and now I am into the blue section is the rest of the body that I have to do. I probably have like 10 more rows and then ribbing, but I'm going to decide if I want to do ribbing a little bit early. I'm going to do some measurements and just kind of see where I think that's hitting, so it's not like way too long on my mom. It doesn't need to be tunic length, you know. Again, with these older patterns of Wool and Pine are like kind of really long lengthwise, in my opinion. But I wanted to do the sleeves this week, but again, the mental energy for me to like do that, and I had other things on sleeve needles, and I only have so many really short for my Chow Gousset cords, and they were just elsewhere. And so I'm going to definitely do them this week. I'm hoping this is done this week. This would be my goal, to get this done this week and get it blocked and try it on my mother and all that good stuff. I really love, so this is the right side because this is where you can see the dips. But I don't love the neckline. The dips don't look as good on the wrong side, but even on the wrong side, like it does look a little bit different, the fade. You know, just knit stitches look different than purl stitches. And so like, it looks a little different, but I think it looks good on both sides. So yeah, I'm enjoying knitting this one. This is a size 8. Let me tell you the details real fast. It's 51 inches. Recommended ease is 2 to 6 on this, and that's a little bit less for my mom, but again, circular yokes, depends on how you like the fit. I'm using 3.7, I used 3.75 millimeters for the dip stitches and 3.5 for the rest of the body. I'm still on gauge wise, like a slightly tighter row gauge, which I think row gauge is aspirational. It's very hard to get both of those things the same as another knitter. This is Hooker's Corner Squish Sock in. Now we have all the colors. So this is orange is Koi. And then we have Here Comes the Sun. And then the tealy color here is Tubular. And then this blue is Lucy in the Sky. My mom is a big Beatles fan, so I figured these two Beatles colors would be really great. And then this fade is just excellent. So very good. Very good, everyone. That is all for that. Hopefully it's done next week. I don't know that I'll get pictures of her in it before next week. I also don't know that I'm going to put pictures of her up here on YouTube, but I will at least get a picture of it like on the wall or something. So, and she'll let me put them on Ravelry. So, okay, I'm going to skip talking about my Calm Night cami this week because I didn't pick it up. Again, with the mental energy, I was just like, wow, I got to figure out some bust darts if I even want them and some other things. And I cannot do that right now. Not this week. That is okay. I'll get back to it definitely this week, this coming week, especially because I will hopefully finish this sweater over the weekend, or this t-shirt over the weekend, and that'll just free up a little bit more fingering weight time. I feel like the fingering weight objects, there's a lot of them right now, and they take time, they take a little energy, but that's okay. I did get a little bit of progress on my Amoretta blouse. I don't think I put a stitch marker on here this week, but here's a little bit more of a visual for you to see them. I have it on a slightly bigger needle, but this is my this is by Isabella Clark, who is 100 Acre Wool on Instagram and Ravelry, and this is a contiguous design, so now you can really see that contiguous design happening. So actually, I might have just finished. Oh yeah, I did. I finished the sleeve only increases. So contiguous construction, and this is flat because it is going to be joined in the round and a V-neck, which you see the picture that's up here or whatever. I'm going to do the scalloped edges, which is crochet scalloped edges, by the way. I think I like called them picot before. They're not picot edges. They are crochet scallop edges. You cast on, you kind of just keep this like sort of faux saddle shoulder construction piece here even. So you just do the same number of stitches between, and you increase on either side of it and do short rows or whatever you need to do. In this case, I built some short rows, then connected them in the back, which was a cool way to do it. So you build like tiny mountains and then you connect them across. And so you have like, that's how you made the short rows with some of that. But then once you finish the saddle shoulder length, and this is a drop shoulder, so this is a much longer saddle shoulder. Like this one, I think, I don't even know, 4.5 inches or something like that you knit, and it creates your drop. This one is only the part from where your neckline will sit to where your the point of your shoulder is, so that your cap sleeve sits properly, and it's like a set and sleeve construction essentially. So you're doing the set and sleeve at the same time though. So you are making a cap sleeve here, which is why I just did some rows that were sleeve increases only. So I didn't do any neckline increases. I didn't do any like back body increases, just the sleeve. Also, because of the way this is made, I think once you do the very back part, it's sort of like a drop shoulder. You don't have to increase the back at all until you get to the armhole section. Your back is flat. Your sleeves increase, and then your neckline, because this is a V-neck, increases. So right now I'm at the neckline increases, sleeve increases still, nothing on the back body. Same thing on this side then. I have quite a bit before I connect, and then that'll go a little bit faster hopefully. So maybe I'll connect this week. That'll be pretty exciting. But this is ZZ Textiles from her sweater quantity library. Nordlys is the color, and this is a color that our whole knit group is making t-shirts in this color this year. But a couple people have now cast on. I'm not the only one. But I'm also not the last one, so hopefully we get some of our other friends to get theirs cast on soon, and we'll see what everybody's is. And I think we're hoping to wear them at Flock again this year, so we'll be a little army of green. Bright green, fun knit. And I am making a size 5, which is 44 inches. The recommended ease of this is 0 to -2 inches of ease, and that's -2 for me, and so I think it'll fit nicely. And remember, I'm gonna attempt possibly a faux double knit button band to go along with the look that I want. Okay, the next thing, oh, and I am using size, and this is on 3.75 millimeter needles. Oh, and I didn't say this last week, which sorry. This Nordlys is also silk sock. So this is an 80/20 sock base, and it's 400 yards for 100 grams. So like a nice plump, and it is a little bit shiny. It's super soft to work with. It's really nice. And it's a 2-ply. So, I mean, you can see that shine, I think, like way back here on the camera is like really visible. In real life, like, I don't know that I would think it's much shinier than like what I'm wearing, but it definitely is. Definitely has more of a sheen, which I think will also be nice for a summer knit. It's got like slightly more, you know, summer fabric-y quality. Okay, the next thing is my sock cast on. So I cast this on maybe Friday. So I'm a, week-ish late, or I was a week late casting on my June socks, but I've made really good progress on them already, and I think they're going to go really fast. So this is the yarn that I'm using. I didn't bring the band in here, but let me look up the details really fast. This one, I think there's no colorway because this is just natural, like what the yarn was, but this was like a limited quantity base from San Juan Woolworks. In the base is called Riffle. I told you guys about this like fun story. It's 100% island grown wool from, I think, the San Juans. It is a 3-ply. It is woolen spun. It is 200 yards for 60 grams. And I got this at Sacred Sheep last year. And I talked to her, and she like picked it up like that day. And so this is a 100% wool sock base though. It is a little rustic. It is very, these are mill spun, but it feels a little bit hand spun in that there are definitely pieces of this that are thick and thin. Not like you can see this looks pretty even here. There'll just be a small section, that is like, oh, this is thicker. You can see that in the sock a little bit. So, and it's not bad. Like I'm not dissing anything here. I'm just letting you know that that's definitely an experience with this yarn. I like, well, in the pattern, I don't think it's that bad, but you can definitely just like see there's some bits in here that like it looks a little bit thicker, like right there. It's not crazy, right? Let me put my hand in here though. This is the Unity sock. I talked about the yarn and not the sock yet. Okay, so this pattern that I'm using, which I'll show you more closely in a second, is called Unity by Niina Tanskanen. This is from 52 Weeks of Socks, Volume 1. And I have that book. And so I've knit several socks from it, and not this one yet. And this is a sport weight pattern, which I think was the right move for this yarn because it is slightly thicker than even like a thick fingering or like a heavy fingering. And I just didn't, I wanted to give it the right gauge and stuff for this. So this is written for 2.75 millimeter needles, but I did 2.5 because I tend to go down one needle size for my sock knitting, at least right now. That's not always been the case and may not always be the case, but I will stretch it out a little bit, and then you can see, I want a magic loop here, but you can see the pattern. So it's got these kind of like crossover little, it's creating like, kind of like little ovals, but it's just a series of 1x1 cables. And they're fun. It's not really memorizable to me. I mean, I do like know what's happening in each of them. You're going in and then you're going out, right? Like I know, but like I think there's 5 rows of cables right in a row, and I have them. I did take a picture of the chart so I can just cross it out each time that I get to it. Instructions were pretty clear. Otherwise, I did the full leg as written in the pattern, and then you do I never know what any of the heel names are called, but it's like, a slip stitch heel. And And then interestingly, you do slightly wider heel turn than I'm used to, but also that is in slip stitch as well. And so I don't go to full stockinette until the bottom of the heel turn, which is not typical. I think you would typically go to stockinette for the heel turn. Well, it was not really that different to me, was totally fine to follow. And then I have picked up my gusset, and I am not done the gusset yet, but I'm not really actually that far off. I think I have like four more decreases. So like 8 more rows of gusset. And then it has like a prescribed amount of foot, but obviously you do as much as you need to. I think there's like the best places to end in the pattern, but I'm going to make it so that it fits my foot. That's more important than having the pattern be exactly for this one, because I think there's going to be so many repeats of the pattern, it'll be fine. So yeah, it's been going fine, and actually like doing in the pattern has been pretty easy, and this gauge is magical, and I'm going to get through this pretty quickly. So I do imagine I'll have one sock done by next week, hopefully, and then the other one started, because I could only find one 2.5 millimeter needle, and this is an old Knit Picks thick circular. So that's what I'm using. It's been great. Okay, next new cast on to talk about. And really, you guys, I don't have that many knits to talk about right now. Like, I mean, this is a lot of projects. I understand this. I know some of you are monogamous knitters, and I commend you for that. I do sometimes have, I feel like I've been getting the itch to finish some things. So I have less to talk about, though I've just cast 2 new things on. But overall, I have now, if we count sea glasses done, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 knits on my needles, which is about what I've been averaging. But having my mom's almost done is really nice, and having a couple of things, like I wanted them to just be at different stages. So I don't have everything in the very beginning, right? And not everything at the very end. So yeah, I'm in a couple of different places. I've got a couple things that now are going to just be in stockinette. I have a couple things that are kind of towards the beginning, and I have a couple of weights, though I have a lot of fingering things happening. This one is a DK weight project. This is my Compass Crew DK, which is a test knit for Claire Jackson, who's perfectly knotted. I said I was going to cast this on as soon as I got the pattern, and I lied. And I'm actually not mad about it, because there was a little bit of a short row snafu, just a miscount for a couple of the sizes, and not even all the sizes, that needed to be reworked. Mine was one of them that would have been affected. So I'm glad I waited a couple extra days. I mean, I think they caught it in the first day, so we had another version come out. And that's the version I'm working from. So I'm glad I, waited a week or whatever to cast this on. But I cast this on maybe Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday night. So it's only been on the needles for 2 days. And I don't have tons done, but on Tuesday night I did the neckline, the collar. There are 2 versions of this. You can do just a regular collar, and you could do a folded collar. I am doing a folded collar, but when you do a top-down folded collar, I still would rather sew mine down afterwards. I didn't think about that, so I didn't leave myself a particularly long tail, but I will just sew it down and have a couple extra ends, which is fine. I just feel like you get a better fit that way. I also do not sew every single stitch. I sew every other, generally, and that also gives the stretch just a slightly more stretch, but it still has structure. I am loving this. Okay, so this yarn, part of the reason I waited is because I wasn't ready for my book change. And then I was ready to start the book. And so I have started Kingdom of Ash, which is the last of the Throne of Glass series, which is the book in which this colorway was named after. And it's called Take It Off. And if you have read the series before, you may remember there is our main character is in a bad way in the beginning, and take it off is a phrase that she says. And so there are like these kind of rusty blood colored spots. There is all this gray, which is supposed to be like iron, and Jess killed it with this color. This is Witchfire Fibers. This was from her Mask Made Me Cry collection that she launched last year. She said some of the colors come back already before. This one it's just absolutely gorgeous. Like the gray in there has got so much like depth, and it's like a little bit purple leaning gray. I'm obsessed. I'm just really excited to get this done. So I will be doing helical knitting starting now. I just finished the short rows and like one row of pattern, and now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna helically knit so I don't have any kind of weird striping or color changes happen later. Though all my skeins look really close in color, but just it also is so that like your yoke doesn't start looking different than your body. You know, it helps mitigate some of that risk with hand-dyed yarn. But I was not going to do it during short rows, even though these are short rows in the round. It's not that hard to do. With short rows in the round, it's easier when it's short rows flat. It's still kind of annoying for all short rows to do helical knitting. So I just decided no, that's okay, and I will do it going forward. But the speckles are looking really great, and the key points of this pattern is that, well, I think the raglan is really beautiful. It's kind of like a raised raglan, the way that she does the increases, but you do a raised, and it is fully raised. Like, I guess I didn't realize that because I haven't made a compass pattern before. She has a regular compass crew, which also is a pattern I own from testing for her. But this raised line, you can see it there, like it really is raised from the fabric, is like created in a really cool way. But it goes all the way down the front and down each arm and down the back. So it's like all 4 points of the compass, which is really, really cool. So this is my front, which is itty bitty, only has like right here, only has like 2 rows, and the short rows go quite a while just because this is a pretty close fitting top. There is notes on this version, which I don't know if they existed on the worsted weight one, about bust shaping. I'm going to decide once I try it on after splitting for sleeves if I need a little bit of bust shaping, which is easy to do in this pattern because it is mostly stockinette, or if I don't want to add it for this one. I am knitting a size 46-inch bust, which is 0 ease, and this is supposed to have a little bit more ease than that, but I did it based on my upper bust circumference, which is what she did for like how she wrote it out in the test knit to choose your size. I may, you know, add a couple of stitches if I need a little bit more bust room, if I want to keep more like the same ease, or I may not, because I don't, you know, like for raglan, I'd rather it also fit a little bit closer sometimes, not all the time. But this one, I'm just like really, really excited for this. Okay, so that's what I have so far for that. This is on 4.5 millimeter needles, which I think I'm on gauge. It's 19 stitches, which for me is usually a 5 millimeter needle. But I must be knitting looser. I mean, the same with I had to go down in needle size for my socks. Some of my sweaters also have been like a little bit off gauge, and so I went with her recommended needle size, which is good. Yeah, but I've used this yarn before, and last time I used this yarn for a similar, like for a slightly tighter gauge, I used this needle size. It was like 22 stitches. I did a gauge swatch with this needle size, knowing that my gauge is like loosened a little bit, and yeah, I'm like right around 19. So I will check it again in a little bit when I have a couple more rows, just to see if I'm still kind of on, but hopefully I don't have to change anything. And that's all of my projects for this week. Again, there's no spin updates yet. I'll do when maybe I do my wrap up at the end of the month, or maybe even next week, I will do a cross stitch update. I feel like I didn't do that much cross stitch in the last quarter, so I don't know if I'll show it to you, but I'm making small progress every week. So let's go to talk about books. So yeah, so let's just go right into what I read this week. I read 4 books. One of them I think I might have finished right before the podcast last week, but I didn't put it in my storygraph yet. So that book is A Curse Carved in Bone, which is the second of the Saga of the Unfated. The first book came out last year, and I read that. Was kind of excited for this one. This is by Danielle L. Jensen, and I read her Bridge Kingdom series, and there's kind of 2 parts of that series, and I think there's even another book that just came out from it. And I loved that series. I thought that series was really, really fun to read. This one, I like, it's a Norse mythology kind of inspired romantasy series, and I find the main character to be slightly more annoying, and yeah, that's more of why I think I don't love it as much. I think the Norse mythology aspects are really fun. So it's a special kind of magic system where the people who have magic have a drop of a particular god's, like one of the Norse gods, like a drop of one of their blood. There's like somebody has the power of Odin and he can see the future. And so that person can see the future. And it may be to varying degrees or whatever, right? And the main girl has a power. She's around other people that have the power. So you get a lot of that. But then there's also just like most people do not. But it's still in the Viking era, age. So there's raids and there's like conflict between nations and trying to unite the like all the jarls under a king and like just things that did not actually happen, but also kind of did happen. There were like ages of this where there was one jarl who tried to take over every, like the whole, country or whatever. So interesting. It's pretty fun. I think this one was like a little bit angsty because there was a conflict that happened at the end of the first one. And they're like, the main character's like fighting it, like the relationship aspect. There was a lot of deceptions, some of which I kind of saw coming and some of which I like, some pieces of which it's hard to tell. Like I didn't know exactly what, but I was like, this is fishy, right? This person is being fishy. I was right. So yeah, anyway, I would say if you like romance, if you like Norse mythology, it's pretty fun. It is unfinished, so I don't know how many books there are going to be because it's called a saga, which saga, by the way, is like the term of what you would call like epics for telling hero tales in Scandinavian countries. Okay. Okay, so I read a pretty fun book by Mariana Zapata this week called, and I'm trying to go through as many Mariana Zapata books as I can get my hands on because I just generally like her writing style, though the last one, Rhythm, Chord, and Malikan, I didn't love the characters as much. This one, a little bit. Similarly, the friend dynamic, I didn't love as much as I do with some of the others, but I like her main characters a lot. And the friend dynamic just being that when they all get together, I feel like she's like this unnecessary, like the way she's trying to build camaraderie and their banter is, I feel like not as believable as like the two main character banter. That makes sense. So anyway, this one's called Lingus. And this was a really interesting premise. So basically the main character, one of her best friends is like a porn actress. And so they're at a convention and she meets a guy who she doesn't know who he is. And she's like, he's kind of wearing a disguise, but like she just doesn't know who he is. And he like flirts with her and then they become good friends. And then she finds out, like at the conference, she finds out who he is. And he's also in the porn industry and they become really good friends. Like he has to keep this part of his life a secret. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He's also got like a regular job and she is a teacher, but also has a lot of feelings about him being in the industry and that she's falling for him. It's interesting. It's a slow burn, well worth it. Character development was pretty fun for the main characters. It was fun. I like a slow burn. She's good at them. Okay. I also read my first Carley fortune book, and actually a Instagram friend of mine who I see sometimes like she posts books that she reads on Instagram and sometimes that will like comment about if I read them or not. And she was reading another Carley fortune book and I was like, are they good? Like, and she said, if you like Emily Henry, say give it a try. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty good recommendation. Obviously I like Emily Henry. A lot of people do, they're not every, she gave me more specifics than that, but like the banter and some of the character development and things like that are like similar. This one is called Every Summer After. This is the first of Every Summer After, the series. I think there's going to be probably the other brothers or the brother, and I don't know, is what I'm assuming the second one would be, but I don't know. It was good. I don't love books that switch in time. It's just like not my favorite way to read a book, like even just audiobooks. This one was not too intrusive that way, but I did have to give myself a little bit of a break because it's like especially when, you know, it's like sort of a second, this is sort of a second chance romance, that like, you know, they've been broken up for a long time. They're obviously seeing each other in present time, and you're going to the past. So you know something bad is going to happen. And I don't like that, like, hanging over your head, bad thing going to happen. But this one was bad. I kind of really hated the conflict thing that they keep alluding to. Like, I hated it a lot, actually. It was pretty disappointed. That being said, I liked the book overall. I really liked the main guy. The main girl kind of was like a hot mess, and I don't really know that she has that much going for her, but whatever. Yeah. Essentially, it's like two kids that become best friends, fall in love, and he, like, at her parents' summer cabin. He lives there full time though. Like I said, I mean, you know this from the very beginning, they're broken up for over a decade. And then something happens and they get like thrown back together, and all of their like past and whatever comes to a head. They talk about it, etc., etc. It was pretty good. I do want to read the other ones. So I liked her writing style enough, for sure. Like, it was enjoyable. The pacing was pretty good. I thought the character development was pretty good, even though I didn't love the main girl character. I still like felt like I understood her, and that she had like multiple facets, though I felt like a little bit of it was just that she's a hot mess. Okay. The next thing I finished reading was my favorite book of the week by far, another contemporary romance. I do have a couple, like, I'm reading Throne of Glass, The Last of Throne of Glass. I have another romantasy series that I started, and so I'm just like a little bit slower on some of those pieces. But and I have one eyeball book that I also finished this week, but this one was my favorite audiobook of the week. My favorite contemporary romance of the week was First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. If you remember, I talked about B.K. Borison a lot last fall. I think it was like the Love Light Farms series, and that's like, I think maybe that's complete now. It's like all the little people that help around Love Light Farms, which is a tree farm. Very sweet small town romance type books. This one is I don't remember what city they're in. Baltimore? Oh, I do remember what city they're in. They talk about Baltimore a lot. Anyway, in Baltimore, there's like a late night AM radio program that's called Heartstrings, and it's like love advice from a guy who's like not a psychologist or anything like that. He's just a guy who gives this advice, and he gets a caller, and it's a kid trying to get her mom on the dating scene and asking if Heartstrings, like the show, can help. And of course then silliness ensues, and she's part of this radio show then and talks to the host. And I think what I really loved about it is like there are some very sensitive sort of topics, like single parenting, loneliness, found family, like a lot of things in here that I think that B.K. Borison dealt with in a really thoughtful manner and like a really real manner. And other, like, there were other sensitive topics. Like, it was just, I thought it was done well. I really loved the building romance. I really loved all the side characters, even kind of like the kooky, like, set of found family she has, like, everyone great, like, so seamless, their relationship, but also like it felt organic and not too rushed, even though there was attraction in the beginning, which I think there's a difference between like insta love being I'm blind to everything and I love you right now and it doesn't matter what you do kind of thing, versus hey oh hey, and then like, oh, you know, should we, shouldn't we kind of situation. So really, really enjoyed it. A+. Go read it if you want a good contemporary romance. Okay, with mature characters, like they're in their 30s, you know, or late 20s, early 30s. Okay, the last book I read was Blood of Hercules, which is the number one in the series Villains of Lore by Jasmine Mass. I think the next one, Bonds of Hercules, I think is going to be the next one, is coming out this coming year, I believe. And this one I think has really mixed reviews. This was like a book talk book, and I got it for free. I don't know if I got from the library. And anyway, I got this book on my Kindle and I read it really fast. Like I think I read it in a week. I could not put it down. It is a bizarre book. So let me just start there. It's pretty bizarre. It's about the premise is that some of the things we know from Greek mythology essentially are real. Maybe not in all of the ways that we heard about them before, but there are like beings with powers called the Spartans, which is like Zeus and Hades and Persephone and whatever, though they may not be exactly how you imagined them from real Greek mythology. But they have powers and they come back out of hiding after like essentially a very bad monsters released in the world kind of event to fight the monsters, and humans are humans and had like technology developments and all the things that you would expect, but it's like the year 2090 or something like that. And it's like several decades after the bad thing happened, and the Spartans are sort of like the controlling ruling class, and humans are like second class, like regular humans, no powers, are second class citizens. In like a war ravaged world. It's really interesting, that part of the premise. It's the device she used, which I find to be most hilarious, is that the main character through a very bad past is afraid of people and doesn't like talking to other people. And so there's much of the book where she gets thrown into the Spartan world and has no idea what's happening, but doesn't ask questions because she's afraid of people. And it's freaking hilarious as that's a thing. There's a lot of like silly kind of like internal monologue happening. I actually found that to be very entertaining. She's got like an invisible best friend who's real, ? I think she's real. It is entertaining for sure. Like, I don't know that it's a good book. I don't know that other people would enjoy it, but I found it to be very entertaining. And, you know, like, I'll read the next one because I want to know what's going to happen. Very much morally gray, not great partners happening, and we'll see if we get untold depths or other things from them in the next books. There's also there's two of them. This is slow burn. Nothing happens until like the last chapter or something like that. And then there's also maybe two other characters who feel a little possessive. And so I was like, I don't know what this mess is going to be, but I'm here for it. Okay, that's all about books. I have a busy weekend this weekend because it's Father's Day, and so we're going to do some stuff for Mike, and he's finally going to come home from his work trip tonight, and I'm sure we've got like lots of other little things going on. Hopefully we'll get some of this big knitting done. I would love to know what you guys are working on. What's going on over there? Is anyone late but still gonna join our CAL? We've got like the chat for the CAL is happening in my Discord, which is linked below. Had some really fun progress updates. I think there was it's like always funny. This happens with every CAL. I think there's like a lot of flurry of pictures and talk in the very beginning when people are picking patterns and picking yarn. I think a lot of people slow down when they're kind of in the body and they don't have that much progress to update on. And then I think we'll have a flurry of finished objects. There are some people that are already done. And then I think there will be some people that cast on more than one project, which is really great and totally fine. You can have more than one entry in the knit along as well. And if you are going to be at Flock, we are going to do pictures there and a little get together and maybe some knitting time and some other stuff. I am co-hosting this with Emily from Gently Chaotic Knits. She's here on YouTube, and also Ariel, who's Airy Knits, also here on YouTube. You can see them from my post on Instagram too, and I'll link them below. But yeah, it's been fun to see everybody's projects, and it'll be really fun to get together with everybody. I'm done sharing for this week. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me. Hopefully you got some knit chores done or some other fun knitting things, crocheting things, stitching things. Whatever that is. I mean, you could cross stitch and do this too. I struggle cross stitching and doing anything. I can read, but it's a counter cross stitch. So I'm like referring to a piece of paper, and I often am like, I sometimes need to do this in silence. depending on what it is or what I'm looking at, what section, if I have to do a lot of counting. But I hope that whatever stitching you were doing, I kept you good company. It is Stitch in Public this weekend on Saturday. See if there's some fun stitching happening in your city. I know a lot of groups have kind of opened this instead of Knit in Public Day, they're calling it Stitch in Public Day, because really, like, I don't think there's a crochet in Public Day, so it's any stitching that you want to do. I think that's fine. Go spin yarn in public, really like Fiber Arts Day. I don't know if I'm gonna go do anything, but I might just pop into a cafe a little bit just to do it, because that's fun. I know sometimes there's like a gathering at Lake Forest Park here, on the north of Seattle side of things, but we'll see. I mean, again, Mike is just gonna be home. I don't know if I'm gonna like leave him on Father's Day weekend for much time, but I possibly will. We shall see. So yeah, let me know what you're working on. If you're doing something fun for Stitch in Public Day, please put it below. If you know of anything happening in Seattle, put it below and maybe I'll check it out. Really excited to see everybody's summer makes coming along. If you ever want to write comments below, I love that. I love keeping up with what's going on. Also, I'm on Instagram if you have any questions you want to keep private, or in the Discord. You can message me on the side in Discord as well. Just let me know. Otherwise, I hope to hear from you, and I will see you next week.